More anti-Israel protesters swarmed the streets surrounding Saturday evening's White House Correspondents Dinner, shouting at the attendees and draping a huge Palestinian flag from one of the windows of the host hotel. And the protests were so bad, apparently, that the president's motorcade had to take a new route than the previous route that they had taken in years past. And I gotta tell you, it couldn't have happened to a more deserving group of people, those White House correspondents. Not sure why this is still a thing that they do, but the protesters said they were there to protest media complicity in genocide, complaining that Palestinian journalists were being killed with full U.S. backing just for reporting on the situation in Gaza. Don't you hate it when the left, creates these little radicals, and then instead of, the radicals unleashing on the right, the radicals just unleash on the left because they've been radicalized and they don't like that the left actually is just faking it. They don't actually believe these things. They just like to push these narratives. And then they end up, protesting their own. Oh, gosh, makes you so sad. So sad.
Yeah, but, as Pat has said many times, he just loves it when liberals eat their own. And to pull the Pat Gray phrase out here, I think that is something we all enjoy at this time. I mean, they are reaping what they sow. Right? This didn't just happen. These people aren't just out there supporting the Hamas cause out of nowhere. They've been schooled by the exact professors, some of which, by the way, are getting the worst of these particular incidents on campus. And the fact that we're sitting here looking at this and watching all of this fall apart shouldn't be a surprise. Right? This is the culture that has been brought to liberal campuses across the country. I mean, you almost see it as they're like, we don't really like how out of control these have gotten, but this, colleges are a place where this is supposed to happen, and you're supposed to be able to protest and blah, blah. Is it really what are you going there for? I thought you were going there to learn things and maybe become an upstanding member of society. And I will also just add this. The conspiracy theory that goes along with this is that the Jews control the world, this ultra-competent evil that the Jews apparently control across all populations, is supposedly something that's in existence, yet they are the worst I've ever seen at genocide. I don't know why they're so bad at it. They can't seem to get their stuff together. They've had this population living within their borders all of this time, and they just left them alone until they came across a giant fence they built to murder and massacre thousands of people. I don't know why they're so incompetent at this one thing after controlling the media in Hollywood this long, but apparently that's what we're supposed to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're trying to wipe out a population, dropping leaflets and telling them when you're going to do it and where they should go and how they get food is a really bad way to do it. I think that they don't understand what genocide really is. And so, if Israel wanted to wipe out the 2 million people in Gaza Strip, they would have done it in the first week. It'd be over. There would be no Palestinians left. They've been trying their damnedest to do this in the most humane way possible while taking out Hamas, because if they don't, this is just going to happen again. Yeah. And they know that because that's what Hamas has told them. So I can't understand how we're handcuffing them as, this administration is handcuffing them and not allowing them to finish the job. They should not finish until Hamas is completely destroyed.
Yeah. I agree.
We wouldn't stop if it was us.
Of course not. Well, and I do feel the need to point out, there were American hostages that were taken. And we don't hear, we should be taking that, I think, more seriously than we are. But so as the protesters are swarming the streets outside this White House Correspondents' Dinner, of course, inside, there are a bunch of elitists, call themselves journalists, drink their drinks with their pinkies up and sitting around laughing at, all conservatives and Donald Trump and all this. So I want to play a clip of SNL. This is cute because in the article it says SNL Saturday Night Live star Colin Jost. And I would propose the idea that nobody on SNL should be called a star because nobody's watching it anymore. So I completely disagree with that. But I want to play Colin Jost roasting Donald Trump. Watch.
But before I begin tonight, can we just acknowledge how refreshing it is to see a president of the United States at an event that doesn't begin with a bailiff saying, "All rise."
No, he's just half dead.
And I would like to point out, it's after 10 p.m. Sleepy Joe is still awake.
Debatable.
While Donald Trump has spent the past week falling asleep in court every morning. Though Fox News said he was just being anti-woke.
Oh my God, that's so funny. So Donald Trump, of course, responded on Truth Social. He said the White House Correspondents Dinner was really bad. Colin Jost bombed, and Crooked Joe was an absolute disaster. Doesn't get much worse than this. I just cannot stand these freaking people. It's so funny that we're weaponizing the judicial system against Joe Biden's political opponent. Ha ha ha. Isn't that so funny that he's in court now? Ha ha ha. We're going to pretend like Sleepy Joe is not half dead right there. He can't even open his eyes. He's just squinting. He can barely keep his head up, but we're going to roast Donald Trump. Ha ha ha. Shut up. God, I cannot stand them.
And to your point about the host not being a star, I believe it's Colin Jost. And
I've never heard of the guy until today.
And then when you saw him, were you like, I've never seen that guy in my life?
Really?
I've never seen him.
No.
He's also known as Scarlett Johansson's husband. That is another
Really?
one of the things he's known.
No.
Oh my God.
In real life?
In real life, yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I've never seen the guy before. Never seen him.
They have one funny thing they do on that show, which is at some points, they've done it a few times. It is legitimately hilarious. And that him and his co-host of Weekend Update, Michael Che, who's an African-American gentleman, they write jokes for each other and they read them for the first time on the air, and they do things that are intentionally horrible for the other person to read. So like Che writes very racist jokes for Colin Jost and he has to say them on the air for the first time. It is legit. It's worth watching. He did have one funny line I thought in there. He said, something effective. I invited my co-host Michael Che to come here and support, but he decided not to come. So, like President Biden, I've also lost all my black support.
Oh,
It's a solid line.
good.
That's a solid line.
Yeah, that's good.
He had a couple. I mean, it is a reminder of how together the media is with these people, with this elites. These are not this whole like fourth estate. We're holding them responsible is bull crap. It's been bull crap for 100 years. Woodrow Wilson was a big part of why we have a White House Correspondents Dinner in the first place, to bring them in. The idea was the administration say, hey, these guys are against us all the time. What if we party with them a little bit and get them on our sides? It has worked. It was the most successful thing probably Woodrow Wilson accomplished, and the legacy is destroying what used to be a really important part of our society, to hold the government responsible. They don't do that anymore. They're now party buddies.
Yeah. And they still had this dinner when Donald Trump was president, didn't they?
They had it. He just didn't go.
Yeah.
That's right. I was like, I can't remember what it was that was different about Trump's presidency.
I loved
Good
that
for him.
because I hate that freaking dinner. It's such hypocrisy, such garbage. And Trump just said, nope, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah.
And it is a funny reminder, too, that at least there's been a decent amount of reporting on this. We don't know if it's true or not. But Trump went, before he was president, he went to a previous one. It was 14 or 15 when Obama was president.
Yeah.
And they made fun of him in the audience a bunch of times. And some of the reporting was, this is what made him say, screw it, I'm running for president. I hate these people. That was
right.
He was tortured, as a kind of a roast victim at a previous White House Correspondents Dinner. I don't know if it's true, but it's a fun one to believe. I want it to be
It did
true.
happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
it definitely happened.
I don't know if that's his,
actual reason.
Yeah, but it did happen.
Yeah. And there's just something so gross about MSNBC covering their own like they're all there and they're covering their own dinner and they're covering their own correspondents who are going up there and making all of these jokes at, the right's expense. It's just so gross, like so self-serving. These people hate you and they think that they're better than you, clearly, because they think that like that's worth plastering all over MSNBC. And honestly, Fox News probably did it too. I didn't see, but they probably did.
It's very possible, and I have no interest in it. Like I have no interest in it at all. I think the protester angle is really interesting though, because it is them eating their own. And it's funny. Like I was telling Pat this. Pat is going to be on Stu Does America tonight, which we actually taped a little bit before this. But we were talking about how I think it's actually kind of unfair to Joe Biden that he gets this Genocide Joe title. I think he's been sufficiently anti-Israel this entire time. What
really
standard are they trying to hold him to here? He is like legitimately, I mean, he has been lukewarm at best to one of our most important allies. And instead of being criticized for that, which he should be, he's called Genocide Joe. How can this guy win? How can this guy win? He's been criticizing Israel. He's been telling them, hey, don't go get your hostages out of here. Don't worry about that. This entire time, I think he's been very weak, probably the weakest we've ever seen from a U.S. president in recent memory.
Yeah. Which, to your point, how many different missiles and drones and stuff did they send over there? And I think this was when it came from Iran. Yeah. And only a couple got through, and Joe was like, take the win.
Yeah, take the win.
Take the win. It's like, they just tried to obliterate us off of the planet, and you're telling us to take a win. Sir, what win is it? I'm not seeing one. So, yeah, to your point, you're right. Which, of course, we all know is why all of these attacks are taking place during a Joe Biden presidency. It didn't happen when the other guy was in. The last guy, none of this happened. Now, all of a sudden, global instability. I wonder why that is. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.